President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stepped onto the political stage, passionately defending the 2024 tax reform bill. This legislative package has ignited fierce debates across the nation, particularly in northern Nigeria, where concerns about its implications had reached its actual boiling point. The four tax reform bills currently under consideration by the National Assembly had been met with skepticism and vocal opposition. Critics and pundits argue that these reforms will spell doom for crucial government agencies, which serve crucial roles in funding education and promoting technology. In any case as it may, Bayo Onanuga, presidential spokesperson, has vehemently countered the claims, asserting that the bills will not dismantle these agencies but rather transform their funding mechanisms. Join us shortly on Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue with political and public affairs analyst Prince Francis Chilaka as he sheds his opinionated light on the issue. Ahmed AI.
For having me on the program. When people say that the Nigerian tax regime is outdated or archaic, it's quite funny because we have not, as a nation, really have a tax regime that expressly carries everybody in Nigeria along. We have really had tax regimes where, the local government will impose their taxes, the state government will impose their taxes, the federal government will impose them. So we've had a myriad of taxes, and the truth is that they have never been coordinated. So when you say it's a cake makes something from our forefathers, but no. We all know the kind of tax regimes we run in Nigeria, and we know that the tax regimes we run in Nigeria sometimes even decided by the government how do they want to collect their taxes. So we need to be able to say, at this point in time, this is what we want for the Nigerian people. If you ask me, the people who really pay tax in Nigeria, other than corporate organizations, are the poor Nigerians, because they're easily coerced into paying tax. And those run by local government who have, people standing on the roads, on the streets, harassing people, collecting money, and most of these monies are not accounted for. So there are too many taxes, but they're not coordinated. So it is not proper to say it's a cake. It's only proper to say that we have not been able to have a unified taxing system. A system where people don't pay double taxes for one item. So for me, I think I would totally disagree with that word, a cake. But I would rather say that Nigeria has been a country with so many taxes and no unification at all. Nigeria history is a very funny one. And over time, a lot of us have asked that, why are we so reliant on oil? We have agriculture. Why are we not, exploring that part of the economy? We have minerals. Why is government not investing in it? And then we have the manufacturing sector. You can't talk about a new source of income or a diversified income in Nigeria without looking at the manufacturing sector. But no, government has not been able to address these issues because everybody sees oil money as free money. And successive governments have all proven that to Nigerians that without the oil money, it appears there is no governance. So I believe that it is high time we begin to look beyond the money we get from the oil. We begin to look at what I would call pure decentralized system, where the federating units are given more power, where governors will think out of the box and how to generate their revenue. So if we take away oil and we say, okay, communities take over whatever is on the land and pay a little to the federal, we will see a lot of things will get well. So for me, I think that it's time for us to begin to embark on agriculture, massive mechanized agriculture. We have to look at our natural resources. How do we begin to mine our gold, our lithium, our sands to the benefit of the ordinary Nigerians? Then the manufacturing sector, how do we develop our manufacturing sector? We have just become a nation that consumes without producing, but we must be able to produce. If you recall, we used to have the cocoa era, where cocoa was booming. We had the palm nuts, we had the palm oils, we had cassava, we had granite pyramid. So what has happened to all of this? Everything went down with the Odeja War, if you recall. So I would say that oil has not been beneficial to Nigeria. Rather, oil has made Nigerian government and the people to be lazy. Secondly, this whole idea of government waking up from sleep and begin to talk of palliative, it is a complete disservice to the Nigerian people. We are not at war. We are not suffering famine and all of that. So why is it that we have a government, all the government thinks about is palliative? Do you know how much all the money government has spent on palliative would create more industries and all of that for the country? Do you know? So the government needs to think as if there is no boss. So I believe that there are so many other areas other than taxation, because if you look currently what is happening in Nigeria, the people are overtaxed. And it is filtering down. And the people are feeling the pain. So anybody talking about tax, it means that we really want to push the people more into poverty. But when you open up the economy, in terms of agriculture, in terms of manufacturing, in terms of mining, if all these sectors are booming, then you can be talking of tax, and people would gladly come to terms with it. You will not expect government to say any other thing other than to give you 1,001 reasons why their policies must work and why they must drive such policies. But there's a question I am, that is begging for an answer for me, and that's the question is, the current taxes that are being collected from the Nigerian people, what are they being used for? Where do we see it working? We don't have roads. The hospitals are not working. The schools are not working. So what is happening to the current taxes you are collecting? It is when you are accountable for the one you are collecting now, then Nigerians will agree with you that when you consolidate your taxes, they will see what you're going to do with it. We want accountability. We want to hold our government responsible. But the truth is that Nigerians themselves do not trust their government. There's a trust deficit between the Nigerian people and the government. And so when you talk about this whole thing about, the tax will be for the poor, the tax, no, that is not the point. Nigerians naturally are not lazy people. All that Nigerians ask for is a enabling environment for the businesses to thrive, provide security for them. That is what they want. And if you do all of this, you'll find out that things will work out well. But unfortunately, Nigeria has become a country where you and I, even though they claim that sovereignty belongs to the people, you and I do not even decide who our leaders are. Because you and I will go out to vote, INEC and the judiciary will end up deciding who the leaders will be. And that is why it is difficult for you and I to recall anybody that has been elected. It shouldn't be that difficult. So we need to look at this tax thing beyond the tax. We need to look at real reform. And I would expect that this government would have embarked on a better reform than first of all looking at taxes. There are people calling for secession. There are people, there's a lot of agitation here and there. There's insecurity in the land. There's hunger in the land. There's unemployment. These are areas which government should first of all focus on. When you address the issue of insecurity, you address the issue of hunger, you address the issue of succession, then you can begin to talk of tax. You can begin to reform your tax laws. But unfortunately, our leaders will always put the cart before the horse. So we need to know, how will your new tax system address the issue of hunger in the land? How will you address the issue that Nigerians are now paying 1,000 plus for petrol? How will you address the issue that from here to away is about 200 and something thousand one-way ticket? How will you address the issue that children can no longer go back to school? These are the things that Nigerians want an answer to, and not the issue of tax. So I think that as it is right now, anybody using church fund, using MIGDA and all of that as an excuse is not being sincere to the Nigerian people. The Nigerian people are asking you as a leader and as a president, first and foremost, we are hungry. Provide food for us. And when you do that, people will begin to listen to you and support your tax reforms. The thing is, unfortunately, our political class are the ones that divide us the most. They bring in ethnicity, they bring in religion into everything we're doing. Ordinarily, I was not expecting the kind of outcry that this tax reform has elicited. But you see, every state in Nigeria believes in this whole idea of how much am I going to get at the end of the day from the federal government? And that is a big problem. Yeah, I think when people talk of regionalism and the fact that they feel that the Nigerian tax reform or the proposed tax reform is tilted towards one region or tilted towards appealing to some states, it boils down to what I said earlier. It boils down to the fact that there's a trust deficit between the government and the people. And this is on the heels of what has happened before now. Everybody believes that the presidency has a different agenda and that they're using the tax bill as a cover-up to what they really have at the back of their mind. And I think also that this government has allowed this kind of talk to come up, in the sense that this government has done quite a number of things that they did not see the need to carry the people along. First and foremost, the error that this government committed was when on the day of swearing in, Mr. President, on the 29th of May 2023, said that subsidy is gone. There was no consultation. He didn't consult as at that time, he didn't even have ministers in place. He didn't have the economic team in place. He did not see the need to consult the governors. He did not see the need to consult the National Assembly. So all of this is, things that people are going to feel, this president wants to work on his own. He wants to act on his own, forgetting that this is a federating unit. And this is a country where you need to take everybody and carry everybody along. So that is where the problem is. Now, what you will see in the public hearing is the same thing. People are going to come out and say, no, we don't agree because we feel that we're going to be shortchanged, or we feel that we're going to be, not given enough and all of that. I think what this government should have done before now, even before putting up the bill, was to rally around support, was to go out, reach out to people, was to talk to people, was a dialogue, but the way they're going about it, it looks as if there's a sinister connotation to it. So you won't rule that out. You'll definitely find, divergent voices here and there, because already people have lost trust in the government. Nigeria as a country, I'll tell you, we've never been as divided as we are today, since starting with the Buhari administration down to this administration. Nigerians have become so divided along ethnic and religious lines. And this division is as a result of the insincerity of our leaders towards the people. When somebody wants to get into power, you look for every means, you bring your religion, you bring your ethnicity, you begin to talk as if you are no longer a Nigerian. And then when you get into power, you now begin to try to realign to become a Nigerian again. So these are the issues. And yes, the North has come out, loudly to say, oh, this bill will not favor us, and all of that. But you see, do you know why the North is doing that? The North is doing that because they feel that they have an upper hand in the National Assembly. They feel that they have the upper hand in the House of Rep. If we had a situation where the total number of senators from the North is equal to the total number of the senators from the South, such things will not come up easily. But when you have a situation where you have about 100 people from the North, you have about 50 people from the South, obviously you would expect that the North will have an upper hand, and the North would want to say, look, this is how we want this thing to be done. That is on one side. On the other side, you have a Senate President who told you clearly, without me saying it, that whatever Mr. President, even just the fact that the President has conceived it, it is approved. So these are serious institutional issues that needs to be addressed. We can't have a Senate and judiciary that panders to the whims and caprices of the executive arm of government. The people who founded Nigeria, they were smart, they were kind enough to put the judiciary and the legislature as different arms of government, allowing for checks and balances. They did that so that there will be equity, there will be fairness, but we don't have that anymore. What we have today is we have a domineering executive arm of government that now seems to dictate to the judiciary and the legislative on what to do. This is totally unacceptable. And so that is why you're seeing everybody saying, no, we don't do it. And then, as I said, because the North and the majority have been able to pull their strings to stop the bill. And now, government is doing what they should have done in the first place, which was to dialogue, to educate the people, and to carry the people along. So in the coming days, we're going to see hot debates, we're going to see alignments here and there, we're going to see, some changes coming into that bill. But this is what I want to say to the federal government. I think the federal government is gaslighting the Nigerian people, or the poor people, the masses of this country, for coming out to say that the bill will favor the masses. There is no bill in Nigeria that favors the masses. The masses has always been at the receiving end. With the way things are, one would have expected that the federal government would have deployed officers of the National Rehabilitation Agency. The National Rehabilitation Agency is an arm of government that is meant to orientate Nigerians. They are meant to be able to tell Nigerians when a new bill is being passed, the advantages, disadvantages, and the reasons why these bills are coming up. They should be the ones interfacing between the government and the Nigerian people. But we have seen that the National Electoral Agency has become morbid. They're not functional, they're not there. And so they need Nigerians to ponder on whatever they want. And, at the end of the day, we're all at the mercy of the want to continue telling people the truth, or they want to tell people lies. But you see, the way it is today, we know that most things we do in Nigeria is either we're bringing in religion into it, or we're bringing in ethnicity into it. And you will agree with me that this presidency started it when he said Eminoko. When he said that the spirit of Eminoko, you know the meaning of Eminoko? It means it is my turn. And when you have a government that is turned into my turn, my turn, my turn, then there's a problem. It is no longer about Nigeria, it's about individual. And we need to get this out of the way. We need to have a country where people can freely say, this is what they want. People will be heard. People will be listened to. Our leaders don't listen to the Nigerian people. Our leaders have never asked the Nigerian people, what do you people want? The only thing our leaders have been able to do, and they have succeeded to do over time, is to tell the Nigerian people, this is what we want to give to you. So these are the problems. And this is where ethnicity comes in. Because Nigerians are suspicious of one another. And the political class has fueled this suspicion. I'll give you a typical example. You and I know that Bola was arrested on the grounds that there was a defamation case against him. You saw how the police, put handcuffs on him, took him to the court and all of that. But you have ex-governors who are still in this country dry, and they walk freely into the courtroom. They know how an opportunity to wave at their supporters. So we have a big problem in our hands as a nation. And that problem is that we need to stop applying different laws for different people, for different ethnic groups. We need to stop profiling one another in this country. If we want to get things right, we need to stop profiling. We need to remove state of origin and replace it with state of residence. We need to agree on one language as a people. Our leaders need to be accountable. Our leaders need to be responsible. This whole idea of, the North has spent 10 years, the South will spend 10 years. It shouldn't be in a country like Nigeria, where intermarriage is growing on a daily basis. Why is it that when it comes to football, Nigerians are one? When it comes to marriages, Nigerians are one. But why is it that when it comes to leadership, Nigeria is divided along the lines of ethnicity and religion? It simply means that we're not thinking out of the box. Or it simply means that those who are leading us, they are not really leaders, they're rulers. For you to be a leader, you must first of all be ready to become a servant. But in Nigeria, no. You will only see the man who is going to be a governor during campaign. That's when you see them sitting with the woman on the roadside wasting corn. That's when you see them pushing wheelbarrow in the markets. That's when you see them lying in public hospitals. That's when you see them taking buses from Lagos to the southeast. What happens after that? What happens after that? They lose touch with reality. They lose touch with the people. So why do the people not agitate? Why do the people not feel, traumatized and rejected? It is during this period you see a man who is contesting for governor as a Muslim, you see him in church every Sunday. You see the Christians in mosque every. But what happens after they become elected? You don't even remember that they have people. You don't even remember that people stood under the sun, under the rain to vote for them. You don't even go back to think, that woman that was wasting corn, is there any way the state can help this woman to become larger than she presently is? How many state of federal hospitals are working today? How many schools, public schools are working today in this country? How many? And most of our leaders are products of these institutions. So why is it that when they get into power, they reject, they bastardize, and they forget these institutions? I would say this to Mr. President. Your reforms so far have not been working. But there are other areas that Nigerians are seeking reforms. We're seeking reform in the educational sector. We're seeking reform in our security. We're seeking reform in food. We're seeking reform in production and agriculture. We're seeking reform in how the police treat the Nigerian people. We're seeking reform in the judiciary. The tax reform ordinarily should be the last of it all. When you have other ones working, you can begin to talk of tax. But it appears that this government is more interested in how much they want to get from the Nigerian people rather than how much service they want to render to the Nigerian people. Thank you. Okay. Okay. New Year resolutions. What are you resoluting for? Everybody talks of New Year resolutions. But you can only talk of New Year resolutions when you are in a country you can plan. When you're in a country that gives you room for a vision, when there's a vision. Yes, I don't know when people say New Year resolutions. I'm one of those. For me, it's a continuum. There's nothing like a resolution. I don't believe in that. I just believe that we must continue from where we stopped last year. I believe in planning. We need to plan. We need to be somebody of purpose and somebody of vision. Yes, maybe that is the definition of resolution. But other than that, no, I don't believe in that.
That was political analyst and social commentator Francis Chilaka airing his opinionated view on Tinubu's tax reform bill. Well, actually, in this moment of uncertainty, one thing is actually clear. The discourse surrounding the 2024 tax reform bill is far from over as supporters and detractors alike voice their concerns. The future of Nigeria's fiscal policy continues to hang in the balance. Ahmed, our AI for Viewpoint. Thanks for watching.